So hi. We're here like trying to discuss like why we joined Frontrunners, and you know, I think Frontrunners is actually a really cool thing just because you get to meet new guys. You get to actually run, which is the reason why I went to Frontrunners. But mostly it's because of the friends.
Yeah, and I remember some of our conversations were about like where would we meet, because if we met in front of the community center, then we were sort of out, quote unquote. Yeah. So there was some folks at the time who wanted to meet behind the community center, kind of where the basketball court was, and I think we sort of overruled that, and it was a very brave thing. It was a very brave thing to come out to actually be in front of the community center.
Hi, my name is Dick Wheeler, and in the old days, as we referred to them, I was known as the world's oldest living frontrunner.
That's right.
Remember that?
Yes.
And I won't tell you how old I am now, but 30 years ago I was 48.
One of the things that I like about Frontrunners is that it's not just about having fun and getting in shape, but it's also about, if you want to, taking yourself seriously as an athlete at whatever level you are, whatever age level. And I really appreciate that because as you get older, it's sometimes a little more difficult to get involved with people or be taken seriously as an athlete. You definitely are taken seriously at Frontrunners, and I like that a lot.
So for me, being in Frontrunners, it's first and foremost a place to run with people who are like me, a bit of a running geek, who like to set goals and reach them. And it's nice to have people to train with to do that. I also like the social aspect of hanging out with people who like to stay in shape and getting together at great potlucks and know how to cook food.
We had this message from this guy Craig who said, I just broke up with my girlfriend and I want to know where you guys run. I want to run with you. And so Greg returned the call and said, we got your message. Are you clear about who we are and what we're doing? And he said, yeah, I think I'm gay. And you know, I think that was what was most common in the phone messages we got were people who wanted to come out as gay, but they weren't sure how that was going to look. And
you know, being somebody who recently came out as a gay father, I remember the very first day I suddenly realized that there was this opportunity to be part of this group and this community of guys who everybody had a different story, and yet there was this commonality. I remember somebody talking about, oh, we all meet up at, we have coffee afterwards, and this sounds a little ridiculous, but I remember that being a really difficult thing to sort of navigate. But the idea of then, going to a coffee shop with all these gay men that I was just beginning to get to know was a little overwhelming. And I remember walking in and having this sense of being, I think simultaneously feeling like I was very much alone. I didn't know anybody that was really in there. And I remember sort of this next immediate feeling was this, I think, pretty extraordinary sense of belonging.
you know, Frontrunner is instant friends running together. You can automatically move to a city, make friends, and go run. Albuquerque. I started in Detroit Frontrunners, and they were incredibly kind to me. They ran with me slow, even good runners. So when I moved to Seattle, before I started working, the first thing I did was came and ran on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
I will tell you what I said at dinner, that this is a group that builds community. When I moved to Seattle, it was the first social network that I developed. When I moved to Chicago 29 years ago, it was the first network that I developed there. And I think it's a place for people to feel welcome instantly. And so many of us are transplants from other parts of the city or the country or the world. And you come here and you run and you enjoy coffee, and all of a sudden you feel like you have a community instantly.
This is Nicholas Honor saying konnichiwa and welcome to Tokyo. I moved to Seattle from Atlanta in August '94, where the midweek run was the most popular event, and I was surprised to find there was no such run in Seattle. I heard that nobody had managed to carry such a run through the winter. Well, that was all the incentive I needed, and I started the run from Volunteer Park in April 1995. Starting the run was tough. There were so many competing things for people to do in Seattle. Imagine a pre-internet era where I would announce the run every Saturday morning at the Saturday run, and then every Monday night I would call people on landline, can you believe, to find out if they were going to be good for Wednesday. Wow, it seems so old-fashioned now. The first winter was thick, but there were at least 2 runners every week, except for one, which became my run. Now there are 35 to 40 people regularly through the summer, occasionally peaking to 70, and a steady crowd in the winter. Happy 30th birthday to Seattle Frontrunners.
At that time there was about 20 people that would show up at Green Lake. And I thought to myself, you know what, this is really cool because you've got people here in the gay community that are out there trying to do something athletic, very positive. We're not doing drugs. We're not getting into trouble. We're doing something really positive for the gay community and ourselves.
Hi, I'm Linda, and I've been a Frontrunner member for about 9 years now and been on the board for like about 7, and I just love this group. Just amazing, wonderful people, and I really respect this group for all it does for our community and all the positive energy it puts out into the world.
Part of Seattle Frontrunners' mission from the very beginning has been to outreach to the greater running community within Seattle as well as to the LGBT community. And on top of that, we've also raised money through the event we put on every year called Run and Walk with Pride. And we've donated, since about 2000, we've donated over $150,000 to local LGBT communities.
So one of my friends actually invited me to run a 10K, the Run and Walk with Pride, this past summer, and that is how I learned about the group, and it's been great so far.
Run Walk with Pride is just a really magical race, you know? I mean, like when you think about it, there's really not a 10K, 5K, or just any type of times race for, you know, gay people or for the LGBT community.
So Go Long is a group that we put together, John Nicholson and I, for marathons and half marathons. So we decided that let's start making longer runs and doing 13. And I was at a point where I wanted to try to run a marathon, so it made sense to me. From that, we got into the idea of trail running. We're going to do those runs quarterly now and have an offering for folks who want to try to do trail running, as well as marathoning and half marathoning.
I've had some awesome times running the Boston Marathon with the Go Long group and doing my sort of obsessive triathlon Ironman training. They were sort of cheering me on through that. So I'm very, very grateful for this group, and I would not be where I am as an out gay male, out gay man right now if it weren't for Frontrunners. Is this good? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing?
That was excellent.
Was
it
even?
That was excellent.
Exciting to hear. You're saying the same story about what happened to you, for you, just 2 years ago. And it just brings tears to my eyes to know that this group is still relevant. Because I just take for granted so much that, you know, people can be out and you're pretty young.
Because it's very interesting, Linda. I joined Frontrunners, almost 10 years ago now, which is surprising, because Well, I was fat and sad. I know, shocking. And now I'm skinny and happy. So yay, Frontrunners.
Hi, I'm Nellie Waddell. I joined Frontrunners in 2009. My daughter had just been born, and I felt like I needed a new social group, something to get me out of the house, and so I found Frontrunners. I'd been a competitive runner before, but I'd taken about 9 years off probably, and saw an opportunity to get back into it. And shortly after I joined, Tim and Kelly were promoting the Cologne Gay Games. Oh, come to Gay Games, it's so cool. And I was like, it's really soon, I don't have the money for it, I'm not in that good of shape. And they said, well, it happens again in 4 years. And so probably ever since then, I've been thinking about Gay Games 9 in Cleveland. So that finally happened this August, and met people from the New York Frontrunners, Seattle Frontrunners, Ottawa, somewhere in Australia, like Sydney. Got to hear all their stories. I kind of describe it as Pride times 10. You know, Pride is just this big party, but this having, I don't know, it just felt like more of a purpose, like being there with other athletes.
Coming from a small town in Montana, being able to meet up with people who were gay but also shared the same interest and the passion for the sport of running. It wasn't until Linda mentioned that we had a track program that I went to check into it, and started working with Lynn, who trained with me for several months, actually, one-on-one, and so I was able to get a lot of foundation work.
Hi, my name's Woody. I joined Frontrunners in 2006. I didn't know anything about Frontrunners, but team member Russell told me about it, and I thought maybe I'd give it a try. So I went to the first track meeting in January and met Coach Len, who was very impressive. He's humorous, but very serious and very organized, and I thought, wow, what a great opportunity to work with Len. And I had never been able to do track when I was a kid due to a knee injury. So I tried it, and it just has been a big adventure. I've tried all kinds of new things. The first year I tried javelin, and I wasn't very good at it, but it didn't matter, it was fun. And I did some sprinting, and over the years I've added events, and now I'm even doing the shot put, badly, and I'm doing hurdles, and if you'd like a adrenaline rush, I recommend trying the hurdles, but make sure your health insurance is paid. The great thing about the track team is everybody helps you, and everybody, somewhere in the track team, somebody knows something that will help you.
Hello everybody, my name is Russell, and I first competed with the Seattle Frontrunners at Gay Games 5 in Amsterdam. My main event is the decathlon, and I help coach the team with the field events. And it's a very good opportunity for those who love to run, keep in shape, and compete also. But you don't have to compete, but you could just run, keep in shape with us.
Seattle Frontrunners has been involved with relay racing for a number of years, starting in the early 90s with Hood to Coast. And a relay race is one of the few times as runners you can do something as a team. It's 12 people running together in 2 different vans, and you do 3 legs, normally close to about 3 10Ks, so the total distance is about 200 miles. And while Hood to Coast went from Mount Hood to Seaside, we've now evolved on to the Ragnar Relay, where it goes from Blaine down to the south end of Whidbey. And last year we had 3 teams, 2 fast, 1 fun team, and the 2 fast teams out of 422 teams came in 3rd and 5th. So we've got a very competitive group of runners, but also have a fun team for people who may not be as fast or just want to enjoy it.
My name's Dean Kogan. We used to have a lot of fun with those relays, and the lead car got lost. And so when I believe it was Tim Muirhead got to the next point, people watching the course said, well, since your runner is not here, you have to continue and do another leg. And he says, no way am I doing another leg. And so he waited until the car got there, and I think he tagged Bill Antner or someone like that.
Well, I was thinking about how we used to do a lot of relays together, running relays, or Filio and I did a couple of biathlons together, and I brought this picture only because it shows several things. Number one, it shows the Frontrunners t-shirt that Filio actually designed. I love that design. Number two, though, you get to see my fabulous perm. This was the 80s, kids.
One thing I might mention is the history of maize.
Yes, somebody needs to.
We used to, first we brought juice. Remember, they take turns bringing juice in paper cups for the end of the run. And then we started going out to restaurants. And we'd walk into a restaurant at 10:30 on Saturday morning and say, we'd like a table for 25 and separate checks, please. And they hated us. Nobody wanted to see us coming. So Maze, which was lesbian owned, and the owner Jean was very supportive. And she said that she would reserve a table for us. And it was very busy in those days if we would call ahead of time. So that's how the Maze call originated.
And it was a small enough club that we really knew each other.
Yeah.
So after we ran, we'd go to Guido's Pizza, have espresso and some kind of pastry, and some people would go to Maze, but later on.
Became gay on, that's true.
Yeah. But definitely at Guido's Pizza right across the street.
Let's see, gosh, funny stories, there's 1,000 of them. This is mile 24, and Kit Warfield is trying to provide encouragement. She has ridden her bike, she did the 5K, I think, and then she was riding her bike backwards on the marathon course to give support to people, you know. So she saw me, I was at mile 24, and she jumped off her bike and turned around and started running with me and going, oh, golly, you look great, you look good, you're doing good. And that's not what I was feeling. And I was thinking a few cuss words, and I feel like crap, would you leave me alone? And I hobbled over the line.
It's this annual year-end banquet, and they have all these awards. So we were up against somebody. This award is coming up. It's called Best Legs. My husband won the best legs, and I won the best Coke. But that's about the only award we ever won.
Actually, I think that Don Wall.
That's right, it was Don Wall.
Yeah, Don Wall, and he took second, and I was sitting there thinking, well, he got cheated.
The community, camaraderie, the openness of the group.
I just really want to be around that spirit and that energy and around people who have done it, so that's why I'm part of the group.
At the times I need them the most, my friends, Frontrunners, my pair of running shoes, they're always there for me.
I've just started since January, so actually for me, I started to when I turned 50, just to be a little bit more active and start doing moving more. So, that's what I started to do.
But it's become
a nice social outlet too.
I think many people that are new that come are anxious about their ability and they maybe don't want to walk, but a lot of people walk around the lake. That's where most people go.
I joined Frontrunners right after I moved to Seattle. I was looking for a community and a place to make friends. I just came out of college and had known a lot of people. Found Seattle hard to make friends. I showed up to Frontrunners on a Wednesday night, and there was this great group of guys who were insanely fast. And I was notably younger than a lot of them and just got beat. So I kept coming back because I wanted to be faster. It became my group of friends and my community, and I've been running and hanging out with and being social with this group ever since.
It's very motivating for running, to run with people who can push you and you push yourself.
Running, I'm all about running. I love running and I love hanging out with people, and actually the kind of people that come to Frontrunners are really inspiring. They're really open and they took me as one more, which I just had a blast. I just have a blast every time I come running. Saturdays are my bright days now that I spend with everybody.
Show up, run, have a good time, hang out, make some good friends. It's great. Cut.